Hello, and welcome to Beering in Mind Beer Reviews. From today, we will be looking at five very new beers from Kyoto Brewing Company in Kyoto, Japan. And they are one of the better breweries in Japan, in my estimation, if not the best. And they have been around for about 5 years now. In fact, they are just past their fifth anniversary. They started in 2015 and showed up at the Kyoto Craft Beer Festa and poured their first beer, which was appropriately called Hajimemashite, which is nice to meet you in Japanese. And they have been around for 5 years and gradually grown into one of the better breweries in Japan. Actually, I shouldn't say that. They really started out as one of the better breweries in Japan, and they have consistently been good. And I should give a full disclosure. I happen to know the three founders of the brewery. They are an American, a Canadian, and a Welshman. And they met when they were on the JET program, which provides language teaching professionals to high schools and junior high schools throughout Japan. And they met when they were quite a bit younger in northern Japan. And the main brewer, head brewer, apparently had this dream of opening a brewery. And he came to Kyoto to live, and he worked at a university in Kyoto. And the other two worked in Tokyo in various financial businesses, financial firms. And one of them decided to get an MBA. And in fact, one night in a bar in Kyoto, I met the head of his MBA program, who had been an old friend of mine from a long time ago. And he mentioned that he had been his MBA advisor, and his master's MBA thesis project was designing a business, which is a brewery. And it was the design for this Kyoto brewery. In the meantime, the head brewer went to the US for training and also did an internship in Lost Abbey in Southern California, and also did another internship at Shiga Kogen in Nagano Prefecture in Japan, which is one of the better breweries in Japan for sure. And he was also a very active home brewer in Kyoto, and we would occasionally meet, and he would give us his home brews, and we would enjoy them and comment on them, and he was an excellent home brewer. Anyway, right out of the gate in 2015, they started making great beers, and they haven't looked back. And today we're going to look at five of their new beers, and this came in a set. They recently started a couple of clubs that you can join to get monthly deliveries of beer, and I joined the two different sets, clubs, one with very special kind of limited edition beers, and one with which will feature just their regular new beers. They have often some seasonals that they put out. And now, here's the first beer in this series, new series, and it's an unusual one for them. It's a lager beer. This is Kyoto Brewing Shintenchi, which they translate as New Frontier. It's a lager, 5.5%, 24 IBU, a little bit high on the bitter units, I think, for a lager. We'll see how it is. It's classified as a pale lager, international premium pale lager. And on RateBeer and on Untappd, this one hasn't got any ratings. It may have now, but a few days ago when I checked, it had no ratings whatsoever. They mentioned that when they first opened, they vowed that they would never make a lager beer. Of course, the craft beer movement in the US began as kind of a reaction against the kind of fizzy, pale lagers that were produced by major brewers in the US. And so lager basically got a bad name for a long time. In the last several years, of course, people have rediscovered lagers, and many breweries are making good lagers now. Many craft beer breweries are doing it. The Kyoto Brewery people decided that, after you work a long, hard day, you just want a regular beer. You often don't want something special, something wild with crazy ingredients. You just want a beer to sip, which there are, few beers other than lager that will satisfy that desire, perhaps a saison or something, but you want a basic style beer. And that reminds me of the film critic Pauline Kael, who used to be the film critic for the New Yorker magazine, and she once said, after you watch an art movie, or independent, movie with a lot of interesting, crazy features that make you think and watch twice. After you watch an art movie, you just want to watch a movie. It's just a regular, Hollywood kind of movie. And that's kind of the same sense here. You just want a regular beer. This beer has Belgian and German malts. And as far as I can tell, I think they used a South German yeast for this. And they did not treat their water, which they usually do. And they are in Kyoto, and the water in Kyoto comes from Lake Biwa, the largest lake in Japan. And so it was untreated water. In any case, this is a 5.5%, 24 IBU lager, Shin Tenchi, New Frontier. And I think New Frontier for them, but kind of an old frontier for beer in general. Let's give this a go. Okay, it is perfectly clear, crystal clear. You can see right through this. And kind of a deep sort of greeny sort of yellow, and about a half a finger of foam, very white foam. Carbonation, very small, slow carbonation rising. Okay, the aroma does seem to feature the typical noble hops that are a feature of German lagers. A little bit fruity. Very definitely a strong Pils character to this in the maltiness. Some very light fruitiness initially, and then it moves into light bread and grain. The hops sort of take over in mid-palate. That bitterness, mild bitterness, continues. It does seem a little hoppier than many lagers. Yeah. It has a strong sense of kind of light weediness, weeds, and very small fruit that kind of continues through the back end. This is a very pleasant beer. Well, I don't know what else to say about it. Again, it's not a complex thing, but it's clean, very solidly well made, nicely balanced. You get the Pils malt and you get the hops out of this here. So this is really well done, I think. Again, this is called Kyoto Brewing Shin Tenchi New Frontier, 5.5%, 24 IBUs. You might want to give this a go. Kyoto Brewing is selling online now, and a number of their beers are available. A lot of them are selling out because they're so popular, but you can go online to Kyoto Brewing if you live in Japan and order some of their beer, and I recommend this one. Okay, next up we'll be looking at 4 more new brews from Kyoto Brewing, including some very special ones, and I hope you tune in for that. Thank you very much for watching. Leave me a comment and subscribe to the channel. All right, take care. Bye-bye.